Hey students, this video is going to talk to you about three different literary devices, including hyperbole, understatement, and euphemism. And what these three tools have in common is that they work with the degree, amount, or weight of a word or concept. So the question for this video is, do you know the weight of your words? So let's check it out. We're going to start with hyperbole. So hyperbole is an obvious and deliberate exaggeration, an extravagant statement, a figure of speech not intended to be taken literally. Hyperboles are often used for dramatic or comic effect. An example is, he died 1,000 deaths. The discussion lasted an eternity. So, if you take a look at hyperbole, some of the words that should stand out to you include exaggeration and not to be taken literally. Those are the two primary components of a hyperbole. So hyperbole essentially can be seen as synonymous with overstatement or exaggeration. But it's also important to note that hyperboles are not meant to be taken literally. So let's take a look at this example. It says, how good is our steak? Last week, a man who was choking on a piece refused the Heimlich maneuver. So this is hyperbolic. It's not meant to be taken literally. A man did not actually die because he liked steak so much. What it's doing is it's using an exaggeration to emphasize an idea. And the idea that it's emphasizing is just how good the steak is. So ultimately, as you can tell, this is an advertisement ploy. It's using a humorous hyperbole to get people to want to try the steak. So let's take a look at another example. We have this poem by Jack Prelutsky. It's about homework, your favorite thing. And it says, homework, oh homework, I hate you, you stink. I wish I could wash you away in the sink. If only a bomb would explode you to bits. Homework, oh homework, you're giving me fits. I'd rather take baths with man-eating sharks or wrestle a lion alone in the dark. Eat spinach and liver, pet 10 porcupines, then tackle the homework that my teacher assigned. So we'll stop right there. I'm starting to get offended. So what we have here is a series of hyperboles that are exaggerating how much the student dislikes homework. At least I hope it's an exaggeration. But here are some specific examples. The student says that he or she would like to blow up the homework with a bomb, or would rather, instead of doing the homework, take a bath with a shark, or wrestle with a lion, or eat spinach and liver, which people actually do that, or pet 10 porcupines. So the idea is that the student is saying that he or she would rather do all these things. That's not meant to be taken literally. The student's going to do their homework before they do these things. But through the exaggeration, it's emphasizing the idea that the student really does not like homework. And so there we have hyperbole. Now we're going to go to the opposite, which is understatement. So an understatement is literally true, but is not the strongest claim that could be made. It is used to highlight the stronger claim. So let's see what that means in actual practice. So here we have Newton was a decent mathematician. Now, ultimately, this isn't false. Understatements aren't false, like hyperboles are false. Understatements aren't necessarily false, but what they're doing is they're going to a lesser degree. Newton was an amazing mathematician, so to call him a decent mathematician is understating his value. It's underweighting it. But what it's meant to emphasize is the fact that he was a great mathematician. When you read this, oh, Newton was a decent mathematician, it's a humorous way of getting the listener to say, wait, no, he was amazing. What are you talking about? And so that's usually the purpose of an understatement. A really famous example is this little picture over in the corner from the Holy Grail that says, it's just a flesh wound. And as you can see, this guy has had his arm cut off. So it's a huge understatement. He's lost a limb. That's more than just a flesh wound. So this picture is one of my favorite examples of an understatement, where you have this sign that says sand, but you have an entire desert. So the sign is understating just how much sand we have here, and it's ultimately to a humorous effect. So that is understatement. Next we have euphemism, which in its most simplistic definition is the truth, only nicer. So let's take a look at a more complex definition. So here we have euphemism defined as the use of a word or phrase that is less direct, but that is also less distasteful or less offensive than another. So let's take a look at some examples. She missed class because her grandmother passed away last week. Where's the euphemism? It is right here. It is this phrasing, passed away last week. That is a euphemism for the word died. So what we have here is a phrase, passed away last week, that's less direct. Somebody might not know what that means. They might be like, what do you mean she passed away last week? So it's less direct, but the reason why it's less direct is to make it less, in this case, hurtful. Here we have many people are opposed to the government's using enhanced interrogation techniques on prisoners. So where is the euphemism? It's right here, enhanced interrogation techniques. Do you know what that's a euphemism for? Torture. So we have a phrase that is being used to be less offensive. If you hear that people are being tortured, you're going to get mad. But if you hear that they're being subjected to enhanced interrogation techniques, you're a lot less likely to get in an uproar. So as you can see, euphemisms can be used, one, to be more gentle with your words, or two, to be possibly less offensive, and therefore potentially hide things from your audience. So here we have another example, and it says, so there was nothing much Atticus could do but be there at their departure. So if you might recognize the character's name, Atticus, this is a quote from To Kill a Mockingbird. And this use of the word departure is a euphemism for execution. So here we have an example of a word that is less offensive. And that's how euphemism works. So let's review. We have hyperbole, which is an exaggeration not meant to be taken literally. We have an understatement, which is true, but is not the strongest claim that could be made. And we have euphemism, which again is true, but is lesser because it's meant to be less distasteful or less offensive. So as you can see, all three of these terms have to do with the weight of your words and using them to better communicate to your audience in a way that you see fit. All right, well, I hope this helped and good luck with your assessment.